that's here, vie for your vote. I'm Anne O'Brien. I'm the convener of Climate Action Canberra, which is one of the organisations that have sponsored tonight. Before I start, can I ask you all to turn off your mobile phones, as it would be great to have silence. May we bring into the room tonight our respect for the Ngunnawal people, their deep understanding of this land and all its cycles, and this understanding will be essential for our ability to adapt to climate change. Let us acknowledge their elders, past and present. Let us also acknowledge our ancestors, their hopes and dreams, and future generations, and their claim to the good life. May we put these considerations first and foremost in our climate decision making. The organisations that have sponsored tonight include the Australia Institute, Sea Change, the ACT Conservation Council, Climate Action Canberra, Canberra Environment and Sustainability Resource Centre. There's a bucket going around for donations, and your donations would be very welcome, as these activities require your support, not just volunteer hours but also other forms of support. Our MC for this evening is Richard Dennis, who doesn't need much of an introduction, but he's a man who's equally at home with debating cynics at the pub as he is on the nightly news, being the voice of reason on climate change. Richard's the Executive Director of the Australia Institute, and he'll be our MC for tonight. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Anne, and I should also confess I'm the second best MC we could think of. Chris Johnson from the Canberra Times was going to MC tonight, but he's gone to Rudy Hill to cover the town hall meeting, so apologies from Chris. Look, a few housekeeping matters before we get underway. We've started a few minutes late, but we'll try to finish on time. We'll aim to finish up just after 7 o'clock. There'll be lots of time for questions. This really is an event that's designed to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions. So each speaker will begin with an opening response of 4 minutes to a question, which I'll read out in a minute. After those short presentations, it'll then be over to you for questions. If you would like to ask a question, we'd ask you to form a line in the middle. Serena, who's holding up a microphone at the moment, she'll be monitoring the microphone. But please wait until we've had the opening addresses, and please, we're very grateful that Senator Lundy and Hatfield Dodds can be with us tonight, and I would insist that we all treat the speakers respectfully, and if you do like to ask a question, but make sure it's a question, not a statement. Keep your questions short, and let's allow the speakers to be heard in silence. The first speaker tonight will be Senator Lundy, followed by Lynn Hatfield Dodds, and we have an apology from Gary Humphries, who hasn't been able to make it here tonight. He is sick. We're trying to see if we can get a statement or something that we can read out on his behalf, but I'm not sure if we've succeeded in that. So without any further ado, I'll ask Senator Lundy to address the question, which is, if elected, will you support what Canberrans want on emissions reductions, or will you support the party line on emissions?
Thanks very much. I too would like to acknowledge the Ngunnawal people, their elders past and present, and pay my respects to all of them and their ongoing contribution to our wonderful community here in Canberra. Thank you for that introduction to my fellow candidate, Lynn Hatfield Dodds. And I think Dave Matthews is here, our second Labor Senate candidate. Dave, thank you for coming along. Everybody here tonight, thank you for being here. Your commitment and passion to come out on a very rainy Canberra night is evidence of your commitment to climate change. Just to clarify, I've got, I think, about 4 minutes or something. So my intention was to outline to you the Gillard Labor government commitment to climate change. I note your question kind of throws me, so I'd like to just perhaps say a little bit about my approach to climate change as a member of the Labor Party, because I suspect you're probably quite familiar with the Labor Party's position on climate change. As a member of the Labor caucus, you will know that I am bound by the collective decision of that caucus. And for that reason, I will be supporting, when it comes to voting or any formal action within the federal parliament, what that collective decision of my party is. Our policies, we've tried to articulate them as clearly as possible. I can tell by the feeling in the room, perhaps they won't make you all happy, but I want you to understand that a federal Labor Party is, in the first instance, absolutely committed to putting a price on pollution and proceeding with some kind of carbon pollution reduction scheme in the next period of Parliament. Now, we have made it very clear that we believe we have honoured our commitment at the last election to bring forward an emissions trading scheme. It was a negotiated scheme because up to a certain point we did have a negotiated outcome with the coalition. When they changed leaders and that fell apart, our scheme was rejected in the Senate, with all but 2 Liberal Party senators opposing it, and of course the Greens opposing it as well. That's why we do not have an emissions trading scheme in Australia right now. If re-elected, we will use the CPRS as the basis for consultation through a citizens' assembly and the broader community on how we proceed with introducing a pollution reduction scheme with a market-based mechanism. We will also establish an independent climate change commission to inform the debate. My role within the Labor caucus is to continue to argue and place pressure on doing that as quickly as possible. And one of the things I've consistently said in the public discourse on this matter here in Canberra is I will do everything I can as a member of the Labor caucus to prosecute that case and keep our party to take action in this area as soon as we possibly can. I understand why we are in a position as we are to need to rebuild a community consensus, because quite frankly, that community consensus that I believe existed prior to the last election was unpicked very specifically, very deliberately, with a very clear political objective in mind. And that was primarily, of course, the coalition deciding to make this an issue of division within the Australian community, and the sceptics and deniers emerging to the forefront of the leadership of the Liberals and National Party. So, where to from here? We have comprehensive policies in relation to achieving a renewable energy target, and I look forward in further questions to be able to give you more detail on that. But I think that was my signal to stop. Thank you very much.
I thought that was some random tapping there, Stephen, not actual official signal. I too would like to open by paying my respects to the Ngunnawal people, to their elders past and present, deep respect and celebration of their continuing culture. I'm trying to remember the question. If I'm elected to the Senate, would I support what Canberrans want, or would I support what my party wants? Well, I'm in the probably enviable position of being able to choose a political party after global warming came to the forefront of the political consciousness, and so I was able to choose a political party whose policies and goals and aims are entirely, I believe, in line with what Canberrans want, particularly if what Canberrans want is moving to a 40% reduction, which I understand we have a whole community group for that very thing. So I don't have a conflict there at all. I reckon I've got 3.5 minutes left, or possibly 3 3/4 minutes left. So I'm just going to, no, 3, okay, talk quick. I can get the Greens' position on climate change down to 3 words, and those 3 words are real commitment now. So first of all, let's get real. We need real action on climate change and not pretend policies. We need real action that's based on real science with real targets that's going to make a real difference in our real planet and our real communities. The Greens are the only political party, as most of you in this room I'm sure are aware, with a plan to put a price on carbon in the next parliamentary term. Ross Garnaut, Australia's favourite input, believes in a price on carbon. We had Joe Stiglitz in Australia in the last 10 days, and he was asked a question at his last gig at the Opera House, and that question was, if there was one single thing we could do to address global warming, what would it be? And he said, put a price on carbon. That's green policy. Price carbon immediately, enable it to rise while we negotiate an emissions trading scheme, which we do need, but one where the targets are actually set by what the science requires to deliver a secure future for us and our planet, rather than what's decided by political expediency and marginal polling. We need a carbon price because, as you all know, I know you know this because I know most of the people in the room, it's the only way to make polluters pay. The reason the Greens voted against the CPRS in the Senate is that its targets were insufficient, it didn't have a floor, and it wasn't going to make the polluters pay. Sometimes, you know, people say something is better than nothing. Sometimes something is not better than nothing. Christine Milne and the Greens put 22 amendments on the table, and the government was unable and unwilling to negotiate on even one of them. So hopefully we'll get balance of power after this election come September, and hopefully whoever forms government will then be prepared to negotiate with the Greens in a serious way about something that's going to impact every person on this planet for the foreseeable future. So that's real. The second word is commitment. Kevin Rudd's commitment to act on climate change was a central part of the 2011 election campaign. I believe one of the reasons he got up, apart from the pendulum swinging away from the Liberal Nationals, was John Howard was a climate sceptic, didn't believe we needed to do anything swift or decisive to act on climate at all. Rudd came in on a mantra of greatest moral challenge of our generation. But we haven't followed through on a commitment to do something. We had a backflip. 3 minutes is not very long, is it? and the now, of course, is we need to act now. We can't afford to wait. I'm not really good on numbers, but I'd guess there's at least 100, possibly 150 people in this space. Hands up, who wants real commitment now and real action now on carbon pricing and climate change? Well, that's what I think, that's what we know. All the opinion polling across the country tells us that, including the Department of Climate Change's $750,000 price tag opinion polling, which said that 72% of Australians want decisive leadership now on climate action. Thank you.